Yelan has taken first place on my Genshin waifu list, and life couldn't have gotten more mommy. She also proves to be an amazing sub DPS, replacing or pairing really well with her should-be nephew Shinshou. She excels really well in vape teams, with her best team being Hu Tao, nephew, and Big Dong Zhang, or National. But in this video, we'll be taking a look at her freeze comp capabilities. Cause I mean, just look at all the guides so far that I've done. That being said, hello, and welcome to another freeze comp guide. Now originally I was hoping to make a freeze comp guide with Shinha and Yelan and their nephews, and although it works, Rosaria just makes a much better DPS than Shinha. But if you'd like to see that Leeway freeze team in action, let me know in the comments down below and hit that like button to show your support, and while you're at it, might as well subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to know when I upload that video. With my account, I have found the most success by pairing Yelan with Rosaria. Chances are Ayaka would be the ideal DPS, but honestly, when is she not an ideal choice for a freeze comp? The other supporting characters for this team that I prefer to use are Diona and Chongyun. If triple cryo does not favor you, I've found really good success with Shinshou, but occasionally struggle with my boomer fingers to always dodge and have skill issues. And Diona covers that for me. You could also replace Chongyun with Shinshou, but run the risk of not getting enough cryo application that way. But that may not be a huge concern, as you still have a shield in Diona and have some characters that can benefit from having more HP from Hydro Resonance. The choice is yours to make. Now this team, unlike my previous freeze comps, does require more activity, and the rotations are pretty active. As mentioned before, Rosaria will take the role of main DPS, or at least will be your on-field DPS. In this team, I have her built as a cryo DPS with Blizzard Strayer. With the help of Chongyun, the cryo goblet gets more usage as you'll be doing more cryo attacks. More cryo attacks means more freeze application and less need to worry about getting hit. The other damage dealer is none other than Yelan. As the off-field DPS, she will mostly be used for her burst. I do have 2 stacks on her elemental skills and take advantage of this to invest less in ER and more on damage, and will arguably do more damage than Rosaria because of this. I also happen to be a big Yelan sim, so I put more investment in her. You can replace her with her 4-star equivalent Shinshou if you choose. Diona is here for comfort. A shield and healer combo can really help. She also helps with more cryo application to help the team freeze more. If possible, try to use her burst separately from Rosaria's, but since Diona is my noblesse buffer, I generally use her burst more loosely for the buff. Feel free to replace her with whoever you prefer for more DPS if you so choose. Finally, we have Chongyun. He plays an important role in making Rosaria's normal attacks become cryo. This really benefits the team to apply more cryo. However, do note that the cryo application has a limited range, and if enemies are really spread out, you may have to leave that range. You may consider using other characters like Kaya or an Anemo character with good crowd control and can infuse cryo or hydro really well if you prefer. I prefer Chongyun as I haven't invested in Kaya, and Venti can prevent Rosaria from hitting targets with his burst, and I don't have Cospa. Sucrose can work, but I prefer using her in National or Taser teams usually. With that in mind, let's see how this team works. With my build, I like to do the following rotation. I start with Diona activating her shield, doing it twice if Sakbo activates, and launching her burst to activate Noblesse. I then switch to Chongyun and activate his burst to do some damage, and follow that up with his elemental skill. One thing about Chongyun is that you don't need to invest in him at all for him to be effective on this team. If you don't invest in him, it is better to start your rotation with him or avoid using his burst, as a time spent with him will end up being a DPS loss. But if yours can do some damage like mine, you have less to worry about. Following that up, go into Yelan, activate her burst, and go right into Rosaria for her E, and enjoy the freeze. I avoid Yelan's elemental skill in the rotation right away so that Rosaria can get some more time with Noblesse, Chongyun's E, and Diona's shield. It is best to save Rosaria's burst once Chongyun's E ends for more cryo application, and by that time it would be time to switch to your other characters again to buff Rosaria, which is perfect, and your supports will then benefit from Rosaria's burst with some extra crit. Generally, Diona and Chongyun will have their burst up already, and you will only need elemental particles for Yelan, which is great because she is your other damage dealer that can take some field time to charge up with her E. Despite 3 cryo characters, this team does wonders in many situations. With larger mobs, you may need to use Yelan's E and charge attack more frequently, but she has the ability to do more DPS than Rosaria, and Rosaria can make a fine sub DPS in that case. Like all freeze comps, this team is plagued by being far less effective against bosses, boxes as you cannot freeze them, a growing problem in Spiral Abyss as of late. If 3 Cryo is not to your liking, you can always replace chongyun or diona with Shinsho for more DPS. And that will be all for this one. Let me know what you think, as well as mention if you would like to see the Liyue Auntie Nephew team guide be a thing in the comments down below. But with that being said, it was a pleasure, and as always, adieu and goodbye. Peace.